Problems involving multiple objects or points. Welcome, everyone. Today, we are moving into a more advanced area of trigonometry, problems involving multiple objects or points. Now, up until this point in our lessons, we have primarily focused on how to calculate the height or the distance of a single, isolated object, like finding the height of a lone tree or a single tower. However, as we move into more complex, real-world scenarios, things get a bit more interesting. You'll often find that objects are positioned together. For instance, you might see a flagstaff mounted on top of a building, or perhaps two different buildings standing directly opposite each other. Because these scenarios involve more than one vertical structure, we can no longer rely on a single simple calculation. Instead, these problems involve multiple right-angled triangles overlapping or stacked together, which means we will need to adopt a much more systematic, step-by-step approach to solve them accurately. Let's look at how we can break these down in the next slide. Understanding the concept. Now that we've established that these problems are more complex because they involve multiple objects, let's look at the core concept behind solving them. When you encounter a problem involving multiple objects, the secret is to look for what connects them. You'll notice that these objects usually share a common geometric element. Most often, this is the horizontal distance, or the base, stretching from the observer to the foot of the objects. This shared base is your bridge between the different parts of the problem. Because of this complexity, my best advice is, do not try to solve everything all at once. That is a recipe for confusion. Instead, we use a strategy of decomposition. We break the entire scenario down into smaller, manageable, and solvable parts. We do this by identifying each separate right-angled triangle within the diagram and solving them one after another, or sequentially. We'll use the information from the first triangle to unlock the information needed for the second, as you'll see in our step-by-step strategy on the next slide. Step-by-step strategy for solving complex scenarios. Now that we understand that these problems are essentially just multiple triangles sharing a common base, let's walk through a systematic, 6-step strategy to tackle them. This is your roadmap for solving any complex scenario you might encounter. First, your very first step must always be to draw a detailed diagram. Don't try to solve it in your head. Represent your objects as vertical lines and the ground as a horizontal line. Be sure to label all your points using letters like A, B, C, or D, and clearly mark every given angle and length. A good diagram is half the battle won. Second, once your diagram is ready, identify the right-angled triangles within it. In most problems, you'll notice a pattern. There is usually a smaller triangle representing the base object, and a larger triangle that encompasses the combined height of both objects. Third, look closely at your diagram to find the common side. This is the bridge between your two triangles. In most cases, this shared side is the horizontal distance from the observer to the foot of the first object. Finding this is crucial because you'll need it for the next steps. Fourth, we move into the calculation phase by solving the first triangle. Use the information you already have, like the height or the angle of the first object, to calculate the length of that common side we just identified. Fifth, once you have that common side, you can solve the second triangle. Use this newly found distance along with the angle of the second object to find the remaining unknown height or distance. Finally, we reach the final calculation. Always check what the question is actually asking for. If the goal is to find the height of the top object, such as a flagstaff, remember that your calculation in the previous step gave you the total height from the ground. You must subtract the height of the bottom object from this total height to get the correct answer. By following these steps sequentially, you turn a complex, intimidating problem into a series of simple, manageable tasks. Let's see this strategy in action with a real-world example on the next slide. Real-world example, the building and the flagstaff. Take a look at this scenario. Imagine a man standing on the ground at a specific point, which we will call point P from this position. He looks up and observes the top of a building, which we'll label as point A, at an angle of elevation of 30 degrees. Now, here is the twist that makes this a multi-object problem. Sitting right on top of this building is a flagstaff, which we'll call point D. When the man looks up at the very top of this flagstaff, the angle of elevation increases to 60 degrees. We are given that the height of the building, which is the distance from point A to point B, is 20 meters. Our goal is to find the height of just the flagstaff itself. To solve this, we'll follow the step-by-step strategy I mentioned in the previous slide. Our first step is to identify the triangles involved. By visualizing the vertical building and the horizontal ground, we can see that two distinct right-angled triangles are formed. First, there is triangle PAB. This is our smaller triangle, formed by the observer at point P, the base of the building at point B, and the top of the building at point A. Second, there is triangle PDB. This is our larger triangle, which includes the observer at point P, the base at point B, and the very top of the flagstaff at point D. Just a quick note on our labels here to keep everything clear. Point B represents the base on the ground, point A is the top of the building, and point D is the highest point of the flagstaff. Now, in the next slide, we will start using the information from this first triangle to find our common side. Now that we have gone over the general strategy for tackling complex scenarios, let's put that theory into practice with a concrete example. Solving \delta PAB $. Now that we have identified our two triangles in the previous slide, let's move on to step 2, where we focus on solving the first triangle, triangle PAB, to find the distance PB. Looking at our diagram, we have two key pieces of information for this specific triangle. We know the height of the building, which is AB, is 20 meters, and the angle of elevation, angle PAPB, is 30 degrees. To find the unknown distance PB, we will use the tangent ratio, since we are dealing with the opposite side and the adjacent side. We set up our equation as tangent of 30 degrees equals AB over PB. Recalling our trigonometric values, we know that tangent of 30 degrees is equal to 1 over the square root of 3. So, our equation becomes 1 over the square root of 3 equals 20 divided by PB. By rearranging the terms to solve for PB, we multiply both sides by PB and then by the square root of 3, which gives us PB equals 20 times the square root of 3 meters. Keep this value for PB in mind, because in the next slide, we are going to use this exact distance as our common side to solve for the total height of the flagstaff. Solving \delta PDB $. Now that we have successfully used the first triangle to find the distance from the observer to the building, we move on to step 3. Our goal here is to solve the larger triangle, triangle PDB, to find the total height from the ground to the very top of the flagstaff, which we call segment DB. To do this, we bring in the piece of information we just calculated in the previous slide. We will use the distance PB, which we found to be 20 root 3 meters, and we will pair it with the larger angle of elevation, angle DPB, which is 60 degrees. Let's apply the tangent ratio to this larger triangle. We set up our equation as tangent of 60 degrees equals the opposite side, which is DB, divided by the adjacent side, PB. Recalling our trigonometric values, we know that tangent of 60 degrees is equal to root 3. So, our equation becomes root 3 equals dB divided by 20 root 3. To isolate dB, we multiply both sides by 20 root 3. This gives us dB equals root 3 times 20 root 3. When we multiply these together, the square roots cancel out, leaving us with 20 times 3, which results in a total height of 60 meters. Keep this value in mind, because in the next slide, we will perform one final subtraction to find the height of just the flagstaff itself. Calculating the height of the flagstaff. Step 4, let's calculate the actual height of the flagstaff, which we've labeled as a D. Remember, the total height we just calculated, dB, represents the entire structure from the ground all the way to the top of the pole. This total height is actually the sum of two parts, the height of the building, a B, and the height of the flagstaff itself, a D. To isolate just the flagstaff, we need to use the subtraction method I mentioned in our strategy earlier. So, the height of the flagstaff, a D, equals the total height, dB, minus the height of the building, a B. Plugging in our values from the previous steps, we have a D equals 60 meters minus 20 meters. This leaves us with a final result of a D equals 40 meters. So our final answer is, the height of the flagstaff is 40 meters. Now that we have successfully used the second triangle to find the total height from the ground to the very top of the flagstaff, we have reached our final step. As we move to the next slide, I want you to take a moment to reflect on this subtraction step, as it is a crucial part of the process when dealing with multiple objects. Key takeaways. First, remember the principle of sequential solving. When you are faced with multiple objects, do not feel pressured to find the final answer immediately. The secret is to always solve for the shared side, which is usually the horizontal distance or the base, before you even attempt to find the height of the second object. In our example, we couldn't find the flagstaff's height until we first used the building's data to find the distance from the observer to the base. Second, focus on triangle identification. It is crucial to clearly distinguish between the small triangle, which represents just the base object, and the large triangle, which represents the combined height of both objects. Being able to see these two distinct right-angled triangles within the same diagram is half the battle. Finally, always keep the subtraction method in mind. If a problem asks you to find the height of an object placed on top of another, remember that your trigonometric calculations will often give you the total height from the ground up to the very top. To get the specific height of the top object alone, you must subtract the height of the base object from that total. Now that we have worked through the example of the building and the flagstaff, let's pause and summarize the key takeaways from this lesson to ensure you have a solid foundation for future problems. Understanding these three pillars will make even the most complex multi-object problems much more manageable. Now, before we wrap up, let's look at some common pitfalls that students often encounter so you can avoid them in your exams. Common mistakes to avoid. Now, before we wrap up today's lesson, I want to touch on some common pitfalls. Even if you understand the concept, it is very easy to make a small error that leads to the wrong final answer. Let's look at 3 specific mistakes to avoid. First, watch out for using the wrong triangle. When you are looking at a complex scenario like the one we just solved with the building and the flagstaff, beginners often try to jump straight to the larger triangle, using the angle of the flagstaff to find the distance PB. However, as we saw in our step-by-step solution, you don't have enough information for that yet. Always start with the triangle that has the most known values, which is usually the base object. Second, be careful not to confuse the total height with the height of the specific object. This is a very frequent error. In our example, we calculated the total height from the ground to the top of the flagstaff to be 60 meters. If you stop there and say the flagstaff is 60 meters high, you've missed the final step. Always read the question very carefully to see if it is asking for the total height or just the height of the object on top. Finally, pay close attention to your ratio selection. When you are dealing with the opposite side, which is the height, and the adjacent side, which is the distance along the ground, you should be using the tangent ratio. Do not use sine or cosine unless the problem specifically provides or asks for the hypotenuse, which is that line of sight from the observer to the top of the object. If you can avoid these 3 traps, you will find these multi-object problems much more manageable.